Sometimes a person will say, well, I guess I'm going to hell, but I don't mind because that's where all my friends are going. We've heard that often. But the truth is, if you have one single real friend in this life, you're not destined for hell, because you will have experienced an authentic and true love. But what's friendship really like? Friendship is a love so deep that you're willing to lay down your life for the other person. Friendship has to do with helping a person in need. When they're sick, not only to visit them in the hospital, but perhaps cut their grass, run errands for them, buy their groceries, babysit their children. That's friendship. When somebody has a nervous or an emotional breakdown for whatever reason, to support their family and to visit them in the institution where they're going through a healing process. Generally, people in medical hospitals are over-visited, so people can't get enough rest to get better. But despite all of our education and knowledge, somehow we're afraid and embarrassed by and don't know what to do if somebody has an emotional breakdown of one sort or another. But a friend will be there in times of crisis like that for the individual and the individual's family. That's friendship. There are no friends in hell. Now, we had this parable today of the prodigal son, the loving father, addressed to religious people to keep all of us honest. The problem with this powerful, earth-shaping parable is we've heard it so often that as soon as a priest, a deacon, a preacher starts by saying, a man had 2 sons, our brains sort of glaze over. We know the beginning of the story, we know the middle of the story, we know the end of the story. It's like, watching a Christmas Story marathon on TNN TV. It can become torturous after a while. But if we really knew this parable and took it to heart, we'd be dancing in the aisles. We'd be going like ambassadors of Christ to the world, filled with an unbounded joy, and we'd be like people on Pentecost, where the crowds as a whole said, what's wrong with them? Are they drunk? What's happening here? If we really allowed this mysterious parable to penetrate our hearts, our minds, and souls. And friendship is a part of this parable. The one son takes his property, goes as far from his family as he could, and has a great time, going from one party to the next party to the next party. And of course, it's nice to go out for a few beers with your friends, to go to a sporting event, to go out dancing or have a party now and then. That's fine. But if your only friends are party friends, you have no friends. You may not feel lonely at all, but you are alone because you're not connected in friendships based on love, concern, and real mutual respect. And what if there hadn't been a famine in that land? What if the young man spaced out the spending of his resources to last a lifetime so he could have went from one party to the next party to the next party, lived the good life? Would he have had a good life? Sometimes we have that expression, oh, you don't know what you're missing. Let's pry it to this young man who would become a middle-aged man and an old man living that lifestyle. Having friends and women that flocked to him as long as the money kept coming. Seems pretty good. It's almost the ideal life, live like a rock star, whatever that means. Doesn't mean anything good. What would he have missed? what would he have missed? He would have missed his whole life. He would have missed living year after year with a father who really did love him, who saw him as an infant, as a toddler, who taught him how to speak, how to write, how to walk, how to be a man. He would have missed out on all of that, decade after decade. He would have missed out on living with and working with a brother that would have been by his side during the heat of the day and the cool of the evening. A brother who would come to know him better and better year after year, decade after decade, so that their bonding would be so deep that nothing could break it. He would have missed out on that. And when he died, few people would have mourned. They would have probably taken what was left of his finances and had one more big party saying, well, that's the way he would have wanted it. But would a tear have been shed? Would anybody's heart been broken because he was gone? Within weeks, it would have been like he would have never been here. And he would have not had a good life. His life would have been filled with many parties, but when the party was over, nothing would be left. And those around him would say, well, everything he had is now ours. But now, on the other hand, what about the faithful son? We call him the self-righteous son. That's not in the scriptures. That's a word we preachers put in for centuries. He's the faithful son. He's done the right thing all along. What did he miss out on? Going from one prostitute to the next? Being in a constant state of drunkenness or being hung over? What did he miss out on not following the path of his brother? Did he miss out on anything, really? Did he miss out on catching sexually transmitted diseases, being swindled, only having friends as long as the money lasted? Not much there. He had friends. He only wished that he had a party with them with a little goat once in a while. He had some resentments. All of us do. But in one of the most powerful lines of the whole New Testament, the father in the parable addresses the faithful son. And he says, my son, you are with me always. Wow. To be with God always, throughout our life. What a gift that is, to have God awareness wherever we are, whatever we're doing. And then the second thing is even more powerful. Everything I have is yours. Sometimes, and we're all human, we feel nobody appreciates us. I've got to do all the work around here. I'm taken for granted. That's part of human nature. We could give ourselves, I would say, 10 or 15 minutes a day thinking like that. Then the rest of the day we should say, come on, get over it. But what happens to the people who've been faithful to their family and friends all their life? Who's been the person always there when anybody's in need? Even though people are not always there when they're in need. They are the heroes of life, the heroes of love. Their hearts are deeply attached to humanity, and their hearts are attached to the very heart of God. When their lives are finished, they're going to hear the phrase, welcome into my kingdom, my good and faithful servant. And they'll be the great lovers of humanity. They'll be the great lovers of humanity. And so we are on that path. All of us have fallen on our face time and again. That's why we have this penitential season of Lent, and we have the great sacrament of reconciliation. And the mercy of the Father is there for us. But all of us, by the grace of God, have in our own ways been faithful to the call of God. And for that, we should give thanks and rejoice. And hence, the bright-colored robes on this Sunday that has traditionally been called a Sunday of joy in the midst of Lent. And that's my prayer for you, that you'll allow this parable to so penetrate your hearts and minds and soul that you'll know that you're always with the Father, and the Father is always with you.